For those of you just tuning in, we want to play for you the moment when Secret Service agents rushed former President Trump off the stage. We want to caution you that we don't know exactly who said what's captioned on the screen or why they said it, because it was such a chaotic moment, but here it is.
Are we good? Shooters down. Are we good to move?
We're clear. We're
Let's
clear.
move. Let's move.
We're clear.
Come on.
And again, that moment of chaos, you hear the screams in the crowd as people are beginning to learn that something is amiss there. Our investigative correspondent, Tom Winter, is with us on the phone. He continues to get reaction and national security details. What can you tell us now?
Lester, while I'm on the phone with you, one of my colleagues is on the phone with the local district attorney in that county who tells NBC News that the alleged shooter, the person they believe responsible for this event, is in fact deceased. So again, to repeat, the local district attorney in the area where the Trump rally is telling one of our colleagues right now that in fact the alleged shooter, the person they believe to be responsible for this, is deceased. We do not yet have a name or identity of that individual. We don't know their background, where they may have come from, any sort of personal motivations. That's information we're still trying to gather. But that's the headline. The second component of this, 3 senior U.S. law enforcement officials tell myself and colleague Jonathan Deans that there appear to have been, or they're looking into whether or not several other individuals were shot that were in the crowd. Those are not individuals suspected to be involved in this. Those were either rally goers or bystanders, but they're looking into whether at least 2 other individuals were shot as well. So that's the latest update that would seem to indicate to us a couple of things. One, they believe they know who did this. They believe they know where they were, potentially what they were using, and they can now start to do a lot of detailed investigative work. We don't know, although there is no indication at this time, that any other individual was involved. But obviously, it's very early and very preliminary on that front, and a lot more work will presumably need to be done.
Yeah, let me just follow up on that. I think you may have answered the question, but we did hear from one witness a bit earlier who seemed to believe that there were 2 individuals involved. You're saying that the local DA is saying one shooter is deceased. So the belief is that it is a single shooter?
The belief at this time is that that's the case, because what they said was that the person they believe is responsible is deceased. So they did not indicate that there were any other individuals. But that's, again, Lester, as you well know, we're less than 2 hours into this, and so there's a lot of information, a lot of things that are fluid on the ground. And just because this individual may or may not have been assisted by others at this rally, did they have any sort of help in any other way? Those are big questions that will be answered in the next couple of minutes or hours. Typically, based on past events, as you know, this is usually just one individual that's involved. But of course, investigators have to keep their minds open. And as reporters who are relying on that information, the investigation that is going on in our own homework, we're keeping our minds open too.
And Tom, you and your team certainly have a huge depth of experience in these kind of breaking news matters, especially when they involve issues like what we're seeing play out here. Is it likely this thing is going to unfold very quickly, that they will work backwards from the moment of the shooting and have a pretty good idea of what they're dealing with?
So let's take, for law enforcement, worst case scenario with respect to the investigation. If this individual had no identity on him, no sort of background, the FBI would be able to instant fingerprint him at the scene. They would be able to get information, and either that way they'd look into facial recognition to see if they could identify him in any sort of government database. From there, you might know where the individual lives, any relatives. They will comb through every inch and ounce of his social media. They will have the ability to go to social media companies and ask for an emergency warrant, and they will most certainly be granted to get access to those communications, cell phone communications, text communications.
Tom,
all of that will be part of the instant investigation.
I apologize to ask you a question, then I have to interrupt you, but we are getting some confirmation. The Butler County DA is now telling us that one spectator has died in this incident. One has been apparently wounded and is in critical condition, and the shooter, as Tom has been reporting, is dead. So To repeat that news, and this comes via the Butler County DA, one spectator at this Trump rally is dead. Another is in critical condition, and the shooter, what we believe right at this hour, the lone shooter, is also dead. And as our colleague Tom Winter was reporting, they will work very quickly and work backwards, and will likely know a lot about this individual in a short amount of time. You see former President Trump trying to acknowledge the crowd while being obviously stunned and being led to the safety of an armored vehicle, but it appears that he is okay, suffering what we've all been able to see, some sort of a graze-type wound to his ear. We hear him, asking for his shoes. He is led away. He continues to turn toward the crowd to offer a sense of assurance that he is okay. He is now clear of that scene as people continue to leave, all of them telling stories of hearing these pops. Some of them, one woman we had on was able to describe the shooter. Now that we've got that confirmed, her account certainly jibes with what we're getting now from the officials in Butler County, Pennsylvania, and that is the crowd here trying to rally their spirits. And certainly, this was several minutes apparently into the former president's rally there in Pennsylvania when this occurred. Multiple what sounded like shots, pops, but we presume there were gunshots fired in his direction as he was looking to the right, and a little unclear. He grabs his ear, and then you can see this team of Secret Service agents can quickly swarm him, confirm that he is clear, out of danger, the risk nullified, and then he is escorted to his vehicle and to safety. That area you're looking at right now is a crime scene. We've seen subsequent pictures where you see the police crime tape, and they will treat it as any other crime scene and try to get the details of this. We don't know what this means in terms of the exact injury that former President Trump received, what treatment he may be receiving, what this will do to his ability to campaign. We certainly, of course, expect to see him in this coming week as the Republican National Convention is about to begin on Monday in Milwaukee. So RNC officials certainly trying to figure that out. But right now, the greatest concern is from that angle is the health of the former president. And of course, thoughts also turning now to the one spectator who was killed in this, another spectator who was in critical condition from a wound sustained during all this.